when incorporating AI into your. Oh, I think we're going to start again. My apologies. The live button just went on. That's what happens. So, welcome to Success Skills Unwrapped webinar with Workplace Education Manitoba. And today, our presenter and expert is Josefina Bilotta. I hope I got that right. We're going to talk about the future of AI within the not-for-profit and what to consider when incorporating AI into your not-for-profit. So I'd like to provide you with a little bit of a background of why we want to listen to her. So Philanthropy runs in Josefina's DNA. Growing up in Argentina, she learned the importance of giving back from a young age and began her work in social impact sector early on as a volunteer. Over the years, she has become an expert fundraising strategist and digital communications manager for not-for-profit organizations. Josefina is a well-versed in project management, digital strategies, customer journey mapping, event, fundraising, campaign planning, and more. There is so much more. Josefina's expertise lies in exploring the AI possibilities to elevate organizational impact. She believes in harnessing digital technology with a human-centric focus to make the world a better place. She's fluent in English and Spanish. She has been pivotal in assisting both large international organizations and small local nonprofits. Her ultimate goal is to use her knowledge and skills to continually grow and improve charitable organizations and foundations. We are very happy to have you here today, Josefina. We will turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donna, for that beautiful presentation. As she said, today we're going to be going through a presentation about the future AI in the nonprofit sector. Before we start, I want to do a quick introduction of what are we going to be looking at today. The first thing, I want to do a little introduction to this workshop. Then I want to move into what is AI, what is the field of AI, some ethical and practical considerations for the nonprofit sector, how we can use AI in the nonprofit sectors and in our daily life too. And lastly, let's see if we have enough time to do a quick demo how we can get some magic out with ChatGPT. So as Donna did that beautiful introduction about myself, first I want to welcome and thank you everyone for joining today. As she say, I am passionate about technology, especially for good cause. I've been I always say that I had philanthropy in my DNA, but over the past 10 years, I decided to make this my career. And I started as working in the communication on the digital fundraising, then making a strategic thinking for how we can help the nonprofits to improve their missions. And lately, I've been focused on how we can implement AI into the nonprofits. As you say, I've been working with different organizations, like from small to big. Some of them are named in there: Victoria General Hospital Foundation, BC Children's Hospital, UNICEF from Thailand, Greenpeace Canada, the Swiss Red Cross. And I also want to say that I'm a proud member of MAPE, which is a new organization. It's which stands for Manitoba Association of AI Professionals, where we're about to launch. So I have a quick secret here that I'm telling you. We're having our launching event on October 16, and it's going to be around shaping Manitoba's AI future. So everyone is welcome do some research on mape.ca and find how more about details about this event. Also, I'm always a continued learning. I'm always taking different courses, webinars, and study, keeping myself on the loop. And one fun fact is that I love swimming too. Okay, enough about me, and let's move in. When I got invited to do this presentation, I started thinking, what are the most common issues that I see on the nonprofit sector as a consultant? And usually there are these three. The nonprofits don't have time, they don't have resources, they don't have money, and that equals to a low impact or low programs, right? It doesn't mean that they don't have these three. It means like maybe one of them they don't have, right? Maybe they don't have time, maybe they don't have money, or maybe they don't have these three. But Would you believe me if I told you that there is a way to save time, to simplify your work, to reduce the stress, to increase your impact, to improve donor engagement, to make better decisions, and to free up resources for your mission, all with the help of AI? I think you're telling me, prove it. And it's not me saying this. There are tons of reports already on the table and on the internet that, by the way, I'm opening a bracket here. At the end of this presentation, I create different links and resources that you can go and dig in. But this is one of them. Like, AI helps employees complete 3 times faster their work. You can see the green one are the ones that are using AI, the yellow are the ones that are not using AI. And some of the tasks that we can see here is like language translation, documentation generation, text analysis, and we can keep going on this list. But it is proven that an employee that works with AI, it's actually working faster, at least 3 times. That's a lot. So when I think about AI, this is what I imagine. I imagine a tsunami of information coming to me and I feel overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. There's always a new tool. There's always a new policy going around. What is ethic? What is not? What should I do? What is professional? What is not? But all of these questions is, we need to think about AI as that is a tool, right? And we can be shaping it, the specific need that we have with it. The key for this is to be prepared and to have a strategy behind that. One of the biggest fears that you can hear around AI is like, AI is coming to replace me. No, AI is not going to replace you. AI is going to exponentiate your work, is going to help you be more productive, help you be more creative. It's actually AI needs the human, right? Another quote that they're saying around there is, AI won't replace you. A person that is using AI will replace you. So my recommendation here is like, keep yourself on the loop on what is going on with AI. But I'm starting to talk about AI, but I want to make sure that we are all on the same page here. And if I ask, what is AI? We can all have this definition that I got from IBM. Artificial intelligence is technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning, comprehension, problem solving, decision making, creativity, and autonomy. We think AI is a trend because it's been on the news lately, in the last 2-3 years, but in the reality, from the 1950s, we've been having AI, but we needed like a lot of computer education behind it to be using it. In the 1980s, we got machine learning, which is AI systems that learn from historical data. And then in the 2010s, we have the deep learning, which is machine learning models that mimic humans' brain function. And then on 2020s, we've been getting generative AI, Gen AI, which is what we see on all those cool tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, and those more. But if we think about it, artificial intelligence has been around us for a long time. If we think chatbots, for example, smart assistants, I don't even want to say it because my house is going to start activating, but when you say, okay, Google, or okay, hey Siri, like we all have those smart assistants coming to help us. We also have recommendations. If we go to a platform that we're watching in, like Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever you have, you always have recommendations. Even on Amazon, when you go shopping, they're telling, based on your previous order, you might be interested in this. Navigations app, when we grab Google Maps and we can see the traffic and we can see how long it's going to take us to get from one point to another one. That's also AI. When we are on a Google search and we start typing and then, and then we start getting recommendations or filling out the words, that's also AI. When we are on social media and it's showing us like different news, like our feeds are based on our behaviors, on our previous behaviors. So if we think about AI has been with us, but maybe we didn't name it properly. Maybe we didn't knew it was that. But yeah, it is here. Another thing that we need to think about it, what is the fuel of AI? Why information and data are key here? So AI is powered by data. Think about the fuel. Like the more data it has, the better it gets, right? So this is recommendations that I'm bringing to all the nonprofits. When I do my consultancy, usually most of the nonprofits, they say, yes, we are collecting data, but the bad thing is like they don't know where the data it is. Or yes, we're collecting data, we don't know where it is, and we sometimes use it for make some decisions. So if you're going to start thinking about incorporating AI into your strategy, AI into your nonprofit, this is number one that you need to start thinking in. What data I am collecting? Is it clean? Is it structured? Is it meaningful data? Do I need this data or not? So we should move from this dirty, disorganized, dusty library to something that is more clean, right? It is important to understand what data is available for the organization and how we can be using it for as the fuel for the future AI applications that we have. So this is a picture that I took on the conference of Microsoft this January 2024. They were giving a little chart about data governance, understanding and protecting the data. It is key, right? But again, this could be a full webinar itself about data, how we can clean, collect, and structure our data to have better results with AI. Something to keep in mind is that, I love this picture, garbage in, garbage out, right? Artificial intelligence is only as good as the data it learns from. So if we're feeding AI with bad data, we're going to get bad results. So this is something that we need to keep in mind when we are starting to think about how we could start like collecting data, cleaning data, what is important for us, what not. And I put 2 questions here to all the nonprofits that I think they should start asking themselves. Why we are considering AI and where will we be implementing AI? When I think about AI, again, I still imagine that tsunami coming to me, right? And there's so many ways that we could be implementing, but I want us to take a minute as leaders and say, why are we considering AI? Where are we going to be implementing this? Another of the biggest thing that is coming to us is ethical and practical considerations in AI integration. And here we can be speaking for hours and hours around this. And this is the cover for The Economist issue in November 2022, I think. And I thought it was pretty interesting because it reflects both sides, right? AI could have both positive and negative impacts depending on how it's applied. In this conference of Microsoft, they were bringing this example, like with a hammer, we can build a house, but we can also do a lot of damage. As a new tool, we need to be learning about it. So education, it's a key on these matters, right? To ensure that AI is actually used ethically and responsible. It has the good side that I will show you in a couple minutes, that how you can increase your productivity, how you can use it for a daily basis, and also how you can use it in the nonprofit sectors for a more specific task. But also we are seeing it already that bad people, or I don't know how to call it, but they're using it on the bad side. So we're seeing that nowadays you can clone a voice in with just 20 seconds, right? So we can have scammers that will be calling you with the name. We're calling you to take some money off your banks, and scammers are already happening. Imagine with this amazing tool, they can use it on the wrong side. So this is my little recommendation, and this is what I've been giving to my parents and my family. Just grab a piece of paper and write a secret password, but keep it private. Don't even verbalize it. Just show it to your family or to your small circle, right? And also avoid using easy, like guessable information, like what is my pet name or what was my first school. We need to be put in a random word, I don't know, banana, banana, apple, or something like that, that only your circle knows about this. Again, do not even say it, because nowadays we're surrounded by devices that they are listening to us. So that is not safe anymore. But keep that in mind, because as I say, we're using AI for good, but some people is using AI for bad meaning. So we don't want scammers to get all our money account. So that is my little secret advice for you. I hope you can do it. Also, when we think about AI, we need to keep in mind some concerns and be aware when we're using AI, right? Number one is the quality of data. As I said before, garbage in, garbage out is the quality of the results. Sometimes we're saying like, no, I've been using ChatGPT or any other tools and it's not bringing me the correct data. And it's like, okay, but what is the prompt that you've been given, right? What is the model that they're using? So we need to be careful about that. The second one is that ChatGPT could hallucinate. How is that possible? I watched an interview of, I can't remember her name, but she was part of OpenAI. And she was saying it actually, it will always give you an answer, and it's copying the human. Like, for example, if I ask, what is the weather today? It'll give me an answer. Yeah, it's sunny. But how do you know where I am located, right? So we need to be aware of that things to make sure that there's always a human behind checking the answers that we're getting, right? The third one that I put there is it is hard to audit. Nowadays, it's getting better because you can ask actually for the resources where you bring in this from, but also having an expert on the field that what you're using it for is the key. Bias and discrimination is number 4. This one, sometimes I like to say that is a reflection of us. So all the AI models have been trained on all the internet books, but sometimes when you're creating an image, and this was back in the day, and you were saying, okay, I want an image of a model or of a doctor working with kids. It was always a male, never a female. Or like if you ask for a model, they were always blue eyes, blonde, and no other stereotypes. So that is a reflection of what is on the internet. Number 5 is data privacy and security. As any other application that today we're using, we need to be aware about that, right? For example, I want to know who in this room has read the terms and conditions ever. Like, they're already using our data. But if we're working for an organization, we need to be careful about donor information, private data. How are we managing this? I always say the same thing. The ethic behind here is keep using the same way that you are using data, right? Don't do anything crazy. Don't throw all the data on ChatGPT, for example. And the last one is copyright issues. We've been seeing on the news that they're suing some sources like OpenAI, for example, about like, oh, you're copying this. But the reality is, like, most of the things that is on the internet is free to be used. And that's how AI is being trained. And AI is actually recreating something similar to that. But they're still going in that one. I don't know where it's going to end, but let's keep in mind about that. So always be asking for the resources too. So when they ask me, what are the steps to adopt AI responsibly. There's so many information around this that I actually put it all in one page at the end for you to go and find the best for your nonprofit. This one, unfortunately, you cannot see it in here, but it's I extract this text from this link that is from Stanford Social Innovation. And these are the 8 steps that they are proposing to do adopting AI responsibly, right? Like, be informed. We should understand both opportunities and risk about AI and avoiding rushing into it without proper evaluation. The second one is to address the fears, engage with the staff openly to address anxiety about job displacement and ensure AI is seen as augmentation and not as a replacement. The third one is to stay human-centered. AI should be used with a commitment to human oversight, particularly in areas where it's intermediate human interactions like mental health or client services. Use data safely. Ensures AI tools use data responsible and respect privacy. Mitigate bias. Implement risk-based planning to prevent AI tools for reinforcing biases. Conduct threat modeling and pilot programs before full implementation. Identify the right use cases. Focus on pain points like time-consuming tasks or bottlenecks where AI can do the most value. Then pilot AI. Always start small. Don't try to boil the ocean, right? One drop at a time. And then redesign jobs. AI will change job functions. So organizations need to provide upskilling opportunities and update job roles accordingly. And what I would like to add to this is, like, it's okay to not feel pressure to go fast. It is okay. As leaders, we don't need to be running. With AI, it's good to move slowly. So I'm not saying push it for later, because AI is the present. AI is here to stay. AI is not going anywhere. But also, I'm not saying, okay, let's change the full organization strategy plan and let's bring AI in every department. No, take your time to analyze where you should be using it, why you should be using it, what do you need to do that. Like, go with baby steps in here. For this, we need leadership, right? We need executive directors, we need board members to be on this. Again, this is not going to be a replacement. It's like back in the days with the digital transformation, we've seen that the nonprofits were like, no, we're okay with our check. We don't need to be adding any online donations. But then the only thing that you're doing is like you're excluding a new audience in there. And especially with AI, that is not even excluding. It's like you have a tool that you could be saving time. You could be getting as many resources that you think about it, and you can actually be increasing your donations. So why not to start thinking on this, right? But again, we need strong leaderships to be making this, like to start thinking about this, to start bringing a plan for this. And it needs to be properly managed, right? It needs to have like ethical standards for the organization. I put in here a conversation. It was a really good one about Beth Cantor and Debbie Thomas, who works for Microsoft. She's the head of the philanthropy in Microsoft, and it's a beautiful webinar that they did. I put the link in here, but also these are some notes that I took for myself. Like, understand the best use case for your organization and how you and your staff work best with AI. Again, AI, it doesn't need to be implemented in every single department, right? And then create small, low-risk experiments to answer questions like, does this use case make sense for our organizations? Then move on to learning and improving, but organizations should start small. This is something that we need to keep in our mind. Don't rush. Again, you can dig into this. There's a lot of information. I put some AI for Good Mayor players that are going, these are my resources that I trust. Microsoft, Intel, Google, IBM, Salesforce, OpenAI, and Fundraising AI, that they're actually having a really good webinar coming on October 1st. These are the resources that I keep up myself update, that I subscribe to newsletter, and I try to keep on the loop on what's going on. Okay, practical ways how nonprofits could use AI. When we ask ourselves what we can actually do with AI, there's a lot of things. I just list a couple of things here, but the limits is pretty wide. So the first one that I put here is language translation and learning. You can translate text between different languages like in 1 second. I speak Spanish and English, and sometimes when my brain is a little bit tired and I don't want to be thinking in English, I'm like, okay, could you just translate this text into Spanish and bring me the 5 points that I need to be keeping in mind? And I got it. Another one is to learning a new language, right? You can be asking, hey, I need to improve my grammar. I need to improve my speaking. What should I be taking or keeping in mind? And then it could be like a good coach or like a teacher, if you wanted to say. The other part is educational support. This is what I was saying before. Like it could be tutoring. It could be helping explaining difficult concepts like math, history, and more into really easy ways. I got a friend who is a teacher in Argentina. He's teaching history in his classroom, and he's bringing ChatGPT into the classroom and asking the students to play with ChatGPT and ask them to get into the role of a conquistador and ask that conquistador to tell the story to the kids, and the kids are asking questions. So it's pretty cool having the person that conquer a continent telling you the story of himself. So it's actually, I thought it was a cute idea. And then homework help, assisting with solving homework problems and providing explanation. This one I have a really cute story behind. My nephews, they live in Argentina, and I try to stay in touch as much as I can. But to my nephew that is 10 years old, sometimes I do some Zoom calls and we do some teaching and we do homework together. So my sister sent me all the pictures of what he's been studying. And then I upload those pictures into ChatGPT and I ask to bring me some ideas for a kid that is 10 years old, and all of this in Spanish, right? And it's actually pretty cool. And if he doesn't understand something, I ask ChatGPT, like I use ChatGPT as our teacher, right? So it's actually a cool idea. Then for the creativity collaboration, it's amazing. For brainstorming, to generate ideas for projects, campaign, anything that you have in mind could be really good for that. Designing assistance, offer suggestions for designing concept and creativity projects. That's also another a good one. Like you can upload a presentation and say, is this okay? Like this presentation is going to be online. Do I need to retouch the colors that I'm using? Is it something, is the font okay? Like, and it could be giving you some designing assistance. Then book and movie suggestion. This is pretty good too, but I think we have that in our apps all the time. Recommending books and movies and shows based on our preference. Travel planning. It could help you to plan a trip. You can say, hey, I'm planning to do a trip for 10 days. This is my budget. This is what I like to do. What do you suggest? And actually, it's pretty good. Another one that I use it for, sometimes I am not creative for the kitchen in the kitchen. So I open the fridge, take a picture and say, give me some ideas what I can do with this. And it's actually pretty good. Information retrieval, like summarizing text. If we have time, I would like to show you how we can upload a document, summarize long articles, reports, books into like 10 bullet points, and then provide details answering some complex questions. You can ask them too for that. Like I have this question that I don't know how to get into this answer, and ChatGPT could help you too. And also to use it as a research assistant, right? Help you gathering information on different topics. Writing assistants could be really good in helping you on writing emails and letters for anything that you can imagine. Creative writing for stories, poems, scripts, content creation to create a post, social media updates, and different articles. So what tools we can use? There's so many already on the table. That sometimes that is the feeling that I have about this tsunami, right? Which tools are good for me? These are the ones that I'm going to recommend because these are the ones that I use it on my daily basic. I use ChatGPT, but because that's how I started. But I also try Microsoft Copilot and Gemini. Microsoft is from Microsoft, and Gemini is from Google. And the three of them, they're pretty good. My thing is because I started using ChatGPT from the start, I kind of like have that relationship with it, that we know each other a lot already, right? So that's the only reason why I keep using ChatGPT. Then Canva, this presentation that you're seeing is made in Canva. Canva has actually pretty cool tools with AI that you can use for designing. I use it a lot. Otter.ai, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one or no. This one I use it for when I have meetings. It's recording our meeting and it's taking notes for me. And when I finish the meeting, it's pretty cool. I get like, what are the action items? What is the summary? And then you can start having a conversation, asking, what do you think about the tone? What do you think? What questions should I be asking to the speaker number one? It's a pretty cool tool that I suggest to try it at least. Midjourney is to create really high quality images. Nowadays, you can create them with these three on top here, but Midjourney is the next level. And Grammarly, if you want to check your grammar, that's a great one. If you want to change the tone of your writing of your email, that's a really good one to use too. So these are the ones that I'm going to recommend to start with. But again, you can explore according to your own needs. This is what I was saying, right? How is like choosing, what do I need to consider when choosing the right tool for my nonprofit? Identify your specific needs, right? Where do you need it? Where is your team spending the most time? Is it updating your CRM? Is it writing? Is it designing, marketing, graphics? What is it? Just identify your specific needs. Then consider your budget, right? There are free options in many of these tools, but of course, when you pay, the tool advance to the next level. And I'm a huge fan to go into to paying for get access to these tools. Like the benefits and the ROI, it's huge. And review your current tool, right? Like this is an ongoing, and we are always getting new tools that we need to keep ourselves on the loop on that. Okay, beautiful, all the stuff that we can do, but for the nonprofits, how we can use it. We can use it in fundraising and donor engagement, right? You could analyze donor behavior, preference, giving patterns, help you detail your fundraising strategy. How? Like getting a more personalized donors communication, improve the donor rotation, identifying potential new donors, on project management and efficiently, right? As I say, on Otter, using Otter, for example, you just like the notes are taken for you, the action items are taken for you. You can have that conversation with them. Data analysis and reporting. It's getting really good at analyzing large volumes of data, and it's bringing insights that might not be obvious in our traditional analysis. So this could be a really good one. And generating content, right? Can get to really creative content and for websites, social media, email campaigns. So there's 4 main areas that you can be using it. here I'm providing this. This is from Stanford Social Innovation links that they're using AI not only for productivity, if not to increase the United Nations SDS, the 17 objectives. So these are pretty good, how they're using actually AI for health, for example, for education. And this is a link that here is from the Taro. The Taro is a CRM, and it's actually a fundraising software that some nonprofits are using it, and they have tons of case studies where they're showing how they're actually raising more money and how AI is actually bringing more results into the table. Okay, enough of me talking, but let's dive in. Let's play a little bit. I want us to think about AI as your super genius colleague or superhero assistant that is there for you when you need it. That assistant or that genius that could be creative, that could learn, that could analyze, that could write, that could solve problems, that could be there for support you, right? So all of these applications that I've been showing before, those tools, we use prompt to talk to them, right? Prompt is the input data that we're given to any AI tools. Here's the key. If we don't prompt properly, then we're getting really bad results. With the fundraisers that I've been talking to, they say, yeah, I tried it once, but I didn't like it. It was too generic. I spent a lot of time correcting and adapting and personalizing it. So here are my few tips that I want to give you. For a good prompt, you could assign a role. I want you to be acting as a fundraiser or as a marketing specialist. What is the goal? I want to be creating this specific marketing campaign to raise $30,000. Provide details, right? Details are key, like where are you located? How do you want it? Personalize it. Upload documents from previous campaigns to copy the style of your writing. The more, the better for this, right? And then put limits. Say, I don't want to get too formal in this. I want to bring it into more friendly approach and avoid words like this ones, for example. And then while you're doing this playing role with ChatGPT, for example, start giving ongoing feedback. You can say, yeah, you're getting close, but not there yet. Like, keep bringing more ideas, or like, oh, I love this. You nailed it for the first time. They actually love to see that. Here I put some prompting samples, and I actually have documents for anyone who wanted. They can reach to me, and I can give you some prompting samples for the nonprofit sectors. And here I put some tips and tricks, right? Provide clear details, give a specific context, or ask it to gather information if it needs to be asking questions to you. So let's say that you don't know what information you should be typing in. Ask it. Tell me, what do you need from me to create a really specific and trim campaign for my organization, right? This is the prompt help. If you're a stack, ask for help to craft your prompt by asking questions that could guide you, right? Check the approach. Ask it to explain the process before you start the task to make sure that it's on the right track, right? You can be guiding what is the approach that you want to be. You want to be human-centered focus. I want to be, I don't know, you need to use your creativity here. And if you don't have that creativity, you can be asking for help to get that creativity out. And another one that is what I was talking before, it's create a reusable prompts. Make it easy to prompt So I have like a document with different prompts that I sometimes use, right? So I don't need to be typing all the time around. That could be helping you to save some time. So today, let's see if we have enough time, but my goal is to dive you into this big iceberg that is ChatGPT. We're just going to be looking to a couple functionalities that it has, but let's see how it goes. As I say, I am paying for this. We're going to be seeing the Plus account. It's $20 a month, worth it, every penny. I'm always saying, start with the free version, and once you start getting that used to using this tool, you won't think about it. You will just like pay for it. And again, the ROI, it's worth it. Okay, let's see if this works. Be patient with me. I'm going to open my ChatGPT, and what I'm going to do is to summarize long documents, and then I'm going to ask to translate it into another language. And then I want to show you that you can actually create Excel formulas. Let me see. I'm not sure you all can see my screen or not. Dana, could you please tell me?
We can see it now, I believe.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to upload a file that I have here. This is a document from Microsoft. It's a report, but I want to ask, hey, could you please help me bring the I cannot. The summary, this document. Keep it simple and into bullet points. There we go. Boom. AI's potential, digital depth, AI's role, survey results, employees alliance. Perfect. Now, let's say, can you find who wrote this document? There we go. It was produced by Microsoft. It doesn't have any specific, oh, here it is. Not the chairman and the CEO of Microsoft wrote this report. This is great. Now, I want you to think as an executive director that needs to present this to the board. What should I keep in mind? Thinking, it's updating my memory. So here are the key points to keep in mind, right? Align AI with the organization goals, blah, blah, blah. But it's bringing me pretty generic ones. I didn't bring in which organization I am, but we can get into that. Now, let's say, great. Could you please add this into a table format? There we go. So then it's easy to copy and add it into an Excel if I wanted to, or a presentation too. And let's say, amazing. I like to give a compliment.
I have heard that works. I've heard how important it is to maintain kindness.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
We don't need to forget about that. Amazing. Now, could you add a new column with a translation to Spanish. And there we go. We got it in Spanish right here. Crazy, eh? How fast we can get this.
Do you know what I actually find these things interesting is I find from a user perspective, if I have a large article and if I sometimes understand what like the umbrella of it is that I'm reading, then when I'm actually reading it, it helps me absorb it better. So it's an interesting tool. It's not about a tool about it not like being shortcutting it, but actually it can really enhance our interpretation of when we actually stop. I find for myself, it actually enhances my ability to be able to read like a 20 or 30 page document because I can categorize into it what I'm trying to get out of it.
100%. 100%. So this is just a quick demo of what you can do, right? Like you can convert into tables, you can create graphics, really you can, it's actually, it's a tool that I love to use it. I could stay hours and hours showing you all the good things. Another good one that, I don't know if I have any photo in here, but it is really common in the nonprofits that we have events like event registration, for example, and we like to print the paper and we like to take notes in there. That's totally fine. But then take a picture, upload it to ChatGPT and say, could you please digitalize this? And then you got everything on a table format or on a document and boom, done. We don't need to be typing all the notes that we took. Or if we're doing a brainstorming session and we have the wall covered with post-it notes, then bang, take a note and describe it and do it into that transition. So we've been through a lot here.
You mentioned you had a resource tool. Is it possible? Is it possible that you can put that in the chat box so it's easy for the people that are here that they can see it, or they could share their email with us and we can get it to them? But if you
this is like, it's a couple actually, like it has a couple links in here.
Okay.
I'm putting, like I did my homework here because when again, the first picture that I put it there, it could feel like it's tsunami coming, right?
Yes.
So
yes,
I put in here some links and resources that I use on my daily update on what is going on around the nonprofit sector, right?
I want to thank you. I have some questions I'd love to ask. There's one in the chat box that I really want to I'm going to put it up here to make sure it's going to show. So
how can AI be used to measure and track the social impact of the nonprofit initiative? That's a great question.
We start with a small question.
That's a big question. To measure and to track the social impact, it's really hard to be telling you right now that, right? But you can start using it to help you analyze and compare the results, right? And what has been working in the back. Like compare different campaigns or but actually measuring the track of social impact, I think we're not at that level yet. In this documents that I share in here, there's one from Stanford University that they're actually doing that, how the nonprofits are actually getting more impact in their programs, for example, on education, how they can reach to more kids, how they can be bringing one big thing that they have was the language, right? So now with AI, the teacher could be connecting with any student. But again, there are like tons of case studies that you can actually take a look at that.
And you do that that idea of just being able to work in different languages. In one workplace, there's often many languages, and the ability to be able to get something and then be able to work with it. I have a question for you. How do we start to collaborate as it relates to good data? Because that's the starting point usually, right? Like, how do we even collaborate on good data? What good data is?
That's a great question. What is good data? There is tons of resources around what is a good data. But the key, I think, here is to ask you, what are you going to be using that data for, right?
Right. Okay.
So if we don't know what are we actually going to be using that for, then how we can define what is good or bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're using it for increase our donor engagement, then any data related to our donor is going to be a good data, right? But then it needs to keep updated. It needs to be kept clean. It needs to keep on the loop on and get surveys out and get the contact information updated, for example, how you can keep that information clean and with a good structure that could help you to actually make decisions.
So those are the logical side of that conversation. But when it actually comes to people sitting around a table, you know, that idea of really starting to, because with Skills for Success, we talk about things like communication, we talk about collaboration and creativity, but we often will have a beautiful process, but the process is actually missing the human component of it. And that's because we've had a piece of data for 30 years, but like, what if we just stop gathering it, right? Does that make sense? Like, what if we just stop gathering it and the fear that can go with that? So any thoughts on words of advice for the team in that space?
I think that's I would keep myself in that sentence, like, what are you going to be using that data for, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the first question that we need to be asking ourselves. What we've been using in the past, is this good for our present, for our future? Like, if not, what do we need to change, right? Why are we collecting this data is the key question that I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
And how you're collecting that data and how often you're cleaning that data. Like, I'm always coming back into the same, but it's
no, I hear you. I hear you. I've sat at those tables though where there's a lot more behind it, right? So just the awareness of that.
I think that could be a good question for ChatGPT to start like asking, hey, I have this piece of data and I want to move into this. What do you suggest? Is this a good or not? Like, I would suggest integrate AI into those conversations tables too, and see what it brings into there, right?
Yeah, very interesting. Yes. You mentioned about starting off, like, you know, sometimes people are like, well, I can't do it because my organization isn't using it yet. But is this something that it
is something common
started at the individual level, or does it need to have overall board approval?
Well, the people who is doing more the productivity stuff is the one that are actually using it.
Yes.
The leaders who are like making the strategic planning, they are like, no, we're not there yet. We want this, like, this is the future. We're okay right now. We're like, handle this okay. Why do we need to be bringing this? I think sometimes there's a little bit of the fairness of, is it going to take my position? Is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know how to control it. I don't know where to start. That's why I think the key is to have our leadership interested in this subject, at least to start learning, digging, going into more resources, how you can be training your staff to be using AI ethical and in a proper way. Otherwise, what we're going to have is like, an employee is using it and just upload all the database in there because it wanted to do a really personalized email to this, to my database, right? And then all your information is in there. So I think leaders and executive directors and board members are the ones that need to start like bringing these topics and start thinking how we can bring this into the table and not just pushing it into the future, because the future is already here, right? AI is not a destination. AI is the journey. We are already there.
That idea of AI as a journey is an interesting space for people, because for some people, they're just waiting for it to actually get here. Once it actually gets here, but it's always changing, right? Like ChatGPT is different yesterday from today.
100%, but it is already here, right? And there are already ways that you can be aware of.
Yes.
I think that is the biggest mistake that we see, that leaders are saying no, and then you see employees using it on the wrong way. And that's where you get the issues, right? Like the leaking information and stuff like that. So if you educate your employees, if you give the right resources, and there are tons of resources for free. Like I put it on the list in there, like Google, OpenAI, Copilot, and Microsoft. They're like giving education resources like for free. They want people to know these tools, how to use these tools.
Yes.
But again, it's not the future. It is the present. It's not going anywhere. It's going to get bigger and bigger.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's a really important part of this, of that space, right? Is to really figure out maybe where you are on that. One of the things it talks about one of the things we talk about is that concept of creativity, and you definitely addressed it. But could you give some ideas of people, like we've been delivering our services for a long time a certain way? You know, that whole idea of creativity, delivery of service, services external or even services internal. I think we deliver services to each other as coworkers. Any thoughts on how we start to incorporate AI into that?
You can start. The way to think about AI is to think it as another colleague, right?
Yeah.
Bring it into the table, but what we need to keep in mind is like, as you think about, it's like that genius colleague. That colleague knows who you are, knows where you live, knows in which organization you are, knows how you're feeling today, knows a lot of components that we don't give to any of the AI tools. And that's when we get the wrong results, right? So the more details, the better. So my recommendation for that is bring it into a table, like as another colleague. Hey, I want you to be acting as a creative. We want to do surveys. This is the way that we've been doing it. Boom, boom, upload some documents in there, like to keep it as a reference. We're stuck here. We need some ideas. Maybe you have some questions for us that we can answer to you, so you can give me a more personalized answer into that. And then you start going to have that conversation, and you can go back to that conversation and have it ongoing, right? And then provide feedback like, hey, your idea really worked. No, it didn't. And let's keep moving into this flow, how you can think about incorporating AI as a colleague, bring it into the table, ask it questions.
Yeah, it comes down to all the different components. For me, when I work with ChatGPT, I really use it more like it's like a relationship I have with someone. It's like, you know, like what are things like, I like the way you were using asking it questions. But that idea of just being able to give it feedback on that worked or that didn't, that's an interesting component of it, so it can start to understand. So, and it is interesting to think about, do I have a table? The word, when you're saying that, for me, I like to eat with friends. I like to eat. Does that make sense? And so eating is an important part for me. But it's like, how do I make a seat? Like, how do I give an actual seat for AI? Does that make sense? Like visually at the table, how are we making that another player on our team versus maybe hiding it behind? Do you know what I mean? Behind besides.
And that's and that's the thing. I think is addressing this with not being afraid of, and showing the good side. Like as I show that cover from The Economist.
Yes.
It could be an angel, it could be a devil, right?
Yes.
It all depends how we use it, for what purpose we use it. So bring it into the table and don't be shy. Like all the pictures that you saw in my presentation was made with ChatGPT. And I was just like, oh, I need a tsunami of information. And it's like, boom, got it. And I'm not ashamed to say I've been using ChatGPT or AI tools, because it's upgrading my productivity, is upgrading my way of thinking, like my skills. Like before, if I had to make a tsunami image, it would take me hours to get that done. And it was just like in literally 1 minute.
It's that interesting space of just owning that you're actually doing it, right? So think about, like we talk about communication. We're using it as a communication tool. We're using it as part of creativity. We're innovating. It's part of our digital platform of what we do, you know? It's allowing it. And I think that's an interesting component that I'm really taking away from today, is like, allow it to be part of your team.
100%. And the key thing here is don't push it. Start bringing it. Don't go fast. Don't be like, oh, you have to be using ChatGPT or AI. No, take your time, but start thinking of it. Don't reject your employees that they're using it. Don't deny it. It's a reality that is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's going to get more and more advanced. In one of those articles that I share about from Stanford, it just blew my mind the way that they were explaining back in 1980s when the computer was invented, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way that they were promoting it was like, oh, do math faster, or like avoid paper and just use it to type in, or keep your recipe saved in your computer. And if you think about it, do you think anyone have thought about, like, nowadays we have in our hands, right,
Yes.
a little device that is like face recognition, and it's like, look where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are on an earlier stage of AI. Don't avoid it. Just bring
Mm-hmm.
it slow at your pace, but start asking questions how you could be implementing AI, where your organization could be using the benefits of this, and
Mm-hmm.
educate.
And that one slide you had, there was I took screenshot because I thought it was one of the ones that were really, really good. And I think that's the idea there, is sort of looking at it and looking at those lists and starting the conversations. Pick a spot to move. Probably in the not-for-profits, they might say they have a lot of pain points, but pick a pain point that you could start to, you're comfortable discussing. You have a lot of knowledge on it. It's not the riskiest thing you're doing. Pick something. It's not super, it's not totally risk-free. It's not risk-free. It's not 100%. Pick something that's actually important. Pick a pain point, figure that out, start there. It's kind of early on in your presentation you talked about. So if you could just put up your slide one more time with your name and contacts, that would be great. And from Workplace Education Manitoba, we really like to thank you for your time and ideas that you've spent here today. Josefina, I think I just want to thank you. And I think I want to say, I like to say until next time, but let me try. You're going to correct me on my pronunciation. So hasta la próxima. How did I say that? Until next
time. Perfecto. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoy it.
Anytime. Thank you for your time.